everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, April 26th, 2020. And so we have come to the end of our new episodes. And quite an ending it was, I must say. Nikki spent weeks trying to convince Victor to tell her the truth, tell her the secret that he's been hiding about AJ Montalvo's death. She was begging him for weeks, saying to him, "Victor, after all these years, you still don't trust me. Don't you know that you can tell me anything?" And then she literally turns around moments after Victor tells her the secret, and she spills the whole thing to Victoria. I mean, no kidding. Nikki and Victor had their big reveal conversation where he tells her everything. Victor walks out one side of the room, Victoria walks in the other side of the room, and Nikki told her everything. She didn't miss a beat, didn't miss a moment. And, well, that immediately blew my theory from last week and the week before that Victoria knew all along that she was totally in on the whole gig. I was wrong about that. But I was not wrong about everything. Nikki tells Victoria the truth so that Victoria will not go off half-cocked seeking revenge on Victor and Adam when she doesn't know the whole story. So Nikki tells Victoria the whole story off screen, of course. Just like how Nikki learned the truth off screen. And we just see Victoria's reaction. We just see Victoria kind of stumbling off the ranch, looking bewildered. And then the very next scene, we see Victoria show up at Adam's penthouse, looking happy as a clam, just with a big old clammy smile on her face. Oh, didn't Victoria enjoy having this information? And didn't she enjoy holding it over Adam, just teasing and toying with him about it? She was just making all kinds of smirky, smug faces to this very unknowing Adam. Adam doesn't really know what's going on here, while Victoria's just looking very satisfied with herself. It was all very screen cap worthy. I think I got several screen caps of Victoria's smug face. And Victoria was just smug enough to make Adam wonder what information that she knew that he didn't know. Adam goes out to the ranch after Victoria's visit, and Adam tells Victor that he wants his CEO title in writing, or he is just going to go out and publish the whole truth about AJ Montalvo's death. Nikki chimes in, and she tells Adam that he has no idea what he's talking about. He doesn't know the truth. His father has been protecting him all along. And now here's where Adam started to look a little nervous. I think I could even see the sweat starting to form beneath Adam's skin. He tells Victor to just tell him what's going on. What is it? What's going on here? Somebody tell me what's up. And that's when Victor reveals the ultimate twist, that the person who killed AJ Montalvo was you, son. It was you. It was Adam. It was Adam all along. Cut to the shocked face of Adam Newman. It It was so good. It was so good. I think that if that scene would have ended all of our new episodes, then I would consider that a very good cliffhanger. It felt like a good season ender cliffhanger, hopefully to be picked back up in the fall, because the look on Adam's face, it was so nuanced. I have to say, I really appreciated Marc Grossman in all of those micro moments. His face was actually twitching when Victor told him this information. I really think that those scenes at the ranch between Victor and Adam might be my favorite Marc Grossman scenes ever. He really proved himself as worthy of the role of Adam this week. And I felt kind of oddly bad for Adam. I mean, even though I'm still going to enjoy his downfall, you could really see and feel how this information was messing with his mind. I mean, in that scene and in the later scenes, I felt like this really threw Adam off his course. I mean, he doesn't trust Victor. He doesn't seem to believe what Victor is saying. He is scrambling to argue that it's not true, and yet there must be something about it that is ringing as true to Adam, or he wouldn't look so shocked. He wouldn't be so shook. He was rattled. I mean, Adam looked like a cornered, wounded animal who was desperate to fight his way out. Victor explained his version of events to Adam, which even included a convenient explanation about Hope's delicious peach pie. Can you believe that after all these years, everyone, including Victor, remembers that Hope baked that peach pie? And then she sent it to the funeral instead of going to the funeral. I'm sorry, but of all of the leaps of logic around this storyline, the fuzzy peach pie memories, those are the biggest leaps of them all for me. But I guess it's all worth it to imagine little Adam jumping out of the shadows to defend his mother against AJ's threats. I thought it was interesting, though, that in Victor's version of events, there was no mention of a weapon of any kind. Victor just said that Adam attacked AJ. So I don't know. Did he? I guess he just bit and scratched him to death. I don't know. And he just went in there and was like, "Argh!" And then he suppressed the memory. I'm just imagining AJ on the ground and then little Adam just on the ground, like just gnawing AJ's throat, just like the blood splatter everywhere. I mean, this gruesome scene of Adam like an animal just. Unless I missed it. I don't even think there was any mention of some sort of blunt force object that he used. Nothing. It was just, yeah, you attacked him and he died. And if that's the case, then I'm gonna paint the story however I want it to be. And in my mind, it is animal. He attacked him like an animal, like a wolf, like a weasel. And then he just blocked the whole thing out. Oh. I also wonder if Y&R had this storyline planned all along, like to take place after Connor had his trauma at the Grand Phoenix Hotel. Like, I wonder if they planned it all along that they were gonna like tie in Connor's trauma at the Grand Phoenix to his father's repressed trauma from all those years ago. I don't know. Was it just a coincidence? Oh, either way, after Adam mauled AJ, Victor showed up in Kansas to cover the whole thing up, which is what he does. And Hope, I guess, never mentions it because she was just, glad that her son chose to stuff it all down and never think about it again. Like any good mother would. Like any good, country mother would. Okay, well, we'll just pretend that didn't happen. Makes sense to me. Oh. So Victor tells Adam that, hey, this is the real truth, and you therefore have no leverage over me now. And if Adam even thinks about telling this story to the press or anyone else, Victor will just bury Adam with the truth. I wonder if there's anyone out there who is speculating that perhaps this is not the truth. Is there any chance that Victor actually is lying? Is this a clever cover-up, a clever way to disarm Adam? I think it's an interesting question, although I don't think so. I think there must be something in Adam that already kind of knows that this is the truth, because he goes home to Chelsea and he tells Chelsea the whole story. And again, Adam's demeanor is one of fearful disbelief. Almost like he's arguing real hard that it's not the truth, but I feel a fear coming out of it. He's saying on the surface that he believes that Victor and Victoria just concocted this whole story as a way to get him out of Newman Enterprises. But as Adam is recounting the story to Chelsea, there's just this look on Chelsea's face, almost like the look that she gives to Connor, of, as if she's sort of staring into Adam's eyes and seeing something that she has seen in her own son's eyes, perhaps. Fear? Denial? Guilt? Trauma? Trauma or no trauma, Victoria has absolutely no empathy for Adam. She tells Victor this week, hey, I know that you want me to see him as my little brother, but I don't. Well, the truth is she never has. The truth is none of the Newmans ever really gave Adam a chance. Not Victoria, not Nick, not Nikki. In fact, both Victoria and Nikki argued to Victor this week that pretty much Adam got exactly what he deserved. He's a predator. In Nikki's words, he's a predator. She also said, hey, he blackmailed you, he tried to kill you, and he framed Victoria for the murder. And that's just this year. But Victor wants to protect his son. This is still his son, no matter what water has gone under this bridge. But he is getting a lot of resistance from both Nikki and Victoria, and you can be sure that Nick will follow suit. Hey, I'm hard-pressed to argue against Adam's rap sheet. I mean, to me, this is one of those situations where everybody's right and everybody's wrong. Nobody's hands are clean. Adam, even just taking it to the current situation, Adam relished taking over that CEO position, and Victoria seems to be relishing taking it back. It wasn't a good look on Adam when he did it, and it's frankly not a good look on Victoria either. She stormed back to the ranch and pled her case with Victor, telling Victor that she has no empathy for Adam. She just wants her CEO title back. She feels that she's entitled to it. She's the one who should have had it all along. Victor should have sided with her all along. And Victor is obviously very disappointed in Victoria's reaction to this, to the fact that her hearing the truth garnered no sympathy whatsoever. Victor agreed to give Victoria her title back, but he warned her that she has now just lost his respect. And that's something that I think Victoria has wanted for a long time. She's wanted Victor's respect. She's yearned for it. She's fought for it for years. And yet what she said to him in response was, I'm okay with that. That's fine with me. She turned around, she walked out the door, she went right back to Newman Enterprises. She sat down in her chair and tried it on for size and said, yep, this is where I belong. Seems like a turning point in Victoria's character. She thought she had her father's support, and it didn't turn out to be true. She thought she was number one, and it maybe didn't turn out to be true. So I think we're maybe seeing a little something from Victoria that's going to change. I don't think she's finished fighting. She's got back her title, but I don't think she's done. Victoria is probably going to have to, on some level, still appease Victor in order to keep her job. Victor still obviously holds authority over her at Newman Enterprises, but I think it is going to be no holds barred when it comes to Adam now. Victoria is going to work with Billy to publish an expose article on Adam, maybe Victor too, and she doesn't need Alyssa or anyone else to help her do it. Glowy is definitely not going to want Chelsea to be the godmother of her son anymore once she finds out what's going on with Adam. Things between Glowy and Chelsea have been so nice and so touching, and I mean, to ask someone to be the godmother of your son, that's a huge trust that you're placing in them. I got a feeling as soon as Victoria publishes her article, their friendship is going to blow up, and it is going to hurt. It's going to hurt them both. But I am sure that Chelsea will be standing by Adam in the end. Oh, for now, though, the baby shower was so much fun. We've had 2 parties this week. We had Chloe's baby shower, and then we had Sharon's impromptu pre-surgery party. It's 2 totally opposite reasons for having a party, but both of the gatherings were so casual and so relaxed, and we were playing games and having snacks, and hey, I enjoyed them both on different levels. For the baby shower, the Chancellor Mansion was decorated so nicely, and I loved that Catherine's portrait was looking down upon everyone and upon the presents and the cupcakes. And, you know, cupcakes are their own present. I'm all for any party that includes those yummy-looking cupcakes. And happiness! Kevin and Chloe looked so happy, and that makes me happy for them. I mean, you know, they've come a long way from him being her ducky to now being the father of her son. I just think it's lovely. We haven't seen a real baby shower on the show for a very long time, so I thought it was fun that they even played the dorky games, like where the guests had to guess what qualities Chloe would want for her baby. Would they come from Chloe herself, or would they come from Kevin? And I thought it was funny because basically all of the answers boiled down to Chloe wanted the kid to have her physique, all of her physical beautiful features, but she pretty much wanted the kid to have everything else for Kevin, the sense of humor and, of course, the dancing ability. All that can come from Kevin, but the beauty and the physique, that is what I would like. To come from me. It made sense. I also loved Kevin's gift to Chloe for the baby shower. He got her a little charm bracelet. It was very sweet. And yes, I would say success all around. Chelsea did a very good job of putting it all together. Connor and Bella were adorable there together. Michael and Lauren were adorable there together. And I am happy to report that Michael's hair is back on track. The cut was tight. It was not too long. It was not too poofy. He was looking really good. And I loved his joke. He was about, oh, I just love babies. I just love looking at them. And then, giving them back to the parents and going home and getting a good night's sleep. Amen to that. Oh, it was fun. It was good. The whole party was really very touching and very poignant at parts, but it was also very fun and very funny. The only thing that I think was missing was maybe a special tap dance number starring Esther and her feather duster. Yes, Sharon's pre-surgery party was not quite as joyous of an occasion as Chloe's party, but it was warm and loving nonetheless. I especially appreciated how Mariah was in charge of the decorations. So Mariah must have went on up to the attic and pulled down every single box of decorations that she could find, and she just slapped it all up on the wall. I mean, there was birthday, St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July, you name it, there was a decoration for it. I thought that was just a cool idea. I really liked it. I liked our little impromptu party. And I tell you, what a moment when Sharon told Mariah that she was leaving her in charge of making the medical decisions for her if she were to become incapacitated. And what a moment when Mariah tried to skirt her way out of it. I totally understood Mariah in that moment. I understood her feeling not up to the task. That's a very, very big thing to ask of someone. And Mariah was kind of looking around desperately for someone else who could fill that far too adult role. That's a very adult thing to have to deal with, and I can understand why Mariah would try to avoid it. I mean, she's looking around the room like, couldn't it be Nick? Couldn't it be Ray? But I also loved how Sharon just stood firm and she said, it's you. You're going to do this. You know me, you know what I would want. Sharon's getting her affairs in order, certainly. She also had this conversation off to the side with Nick about Faith and what her wishes for Faith would be if she hadn't, if she doesn't end up surviving the surgery. Oh, how heavy. I think that Sharon's chances of surviving the surgery are far better than Faith's chance of survival should Victor find out about that impersonation she did of him. That was a moment right there, too. Better not let Victor find out about Faith's impersonation of him, at least not until after her Sweet 16 party, because I'm sure there's like some amazing sports car that Victor has picked out for Faith's Sweet 16, and hearing about that impersonation might just get right in the way of that. Just kidding. I loved that Nick, vowed, saying he would protect Faith. If any, just making sure that Sharon felt reassured that he was there for Faith and that he would protect Faith and raise her as Sharon would want. It was a nice party. I also thought it was really nice of Phyllis to send over that gift basket for Sharon. It was filled with lots and lots of goodies. But it was also so very like Phyllis to make sure that the whole thing was branded. Like, there was a real big Grand Phoenix gift card displayed prominently right on the front of that gift basket, of course. Bones? Really? Bones? Is this where we're headed? Bones. Jack's talking to Phyllis at the Grand Phoenix this week, and he was getting the bad news that she and Nick are back together. Ouch! That has to hurt. I mean, for Jack, knowing that after all these years, Phyllis still wants Nick. Phyllis still gonna pursue Nick, whether she should or not. And Phyllis cheated on him. Phyllis left him for Nick. And after all this time, she's still wanting Nick. Ooh, ooh. Well, Jack was chatting with Phyllis also about a construction site for a project that he is working on, and he mentions to Phyllis that the construction actually had to stop because they found bones at the construction site. Maybe they're dinosaur bones. Maybe they're angel bones. We don't know. But it was enough to put Jack's project on hold indefinitely, and it was enough to light a light bulb over Phyllis's head. One might say that Jack inadvertently gave Phyllis a bonehead idea. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Abby received apparently some sort of special permit to keep going with the construction on her hotel across the street. So the havoc and the noise continued this week at the Grand Phoenix Hotel. So Phyllis is gonna need to come up with a plan B to stop it. Wait a minute. Are you kidding me? Is Phyllis seriously about to run down to Jimmy Joe's barbecue shack, order up about 20 pounds of ribs, and then head down to Abby's construction site with a shovel? The rat took the cheese. And yet I feel great empathy for the rat. Theo did the wrong thing. I think we all know this. We all can recognize this. Theo made a bad decision. But he also seemed disappointed most of all in himself. And that's relatable to me. There's never anyone who could get down on me or make me feel worse than me. That's how I sensed that Theo felt. I also honestly felt empathy for Jack. Because Jack gave Theo the opportunity to have this great job at the family business, and Jack embraced Theo with open arms. He treated him well. He gave him the benefit of the doubt, and in the end, Theo let him down. Stood right in front of him, pitched a pitch that Jack apparently pitched 15 years ago, word for word, same pitch. I guess Jack must have he must have written down that pitch 15 years ago and kept it in a Word document file, and Summer and Kyle must have found the file and copy and pasted it and just waited for Theo to lift it. It was so humiliating. It really was, but at the same time I was feeling humiliated for Theo, and I think that Summer and Kyle felt the same way. I mean, I got the sense that, of course, they're proud of themselves. They had smug looks on their face, of course, that I could have just wiped off. But in that moment in the conference room, watching Theo scramble, I also think they felt embarrassed for him. Theo got outplayed. Unfair and square. Theo got outplayed. And Kyle did not hesitate to use his power to put Theo out of his misery. Jack, puzzlingly, deferred to his co-CEO for a decision on how to handle this situation. What do we do with this guy? And Kyle just got that smirk on his face, that smiling Kyle Abbott smirk, and he decided to bring down the hammer. Said, "Sorry, Theo, there's not going to be any more times. You're fired." Oh boy. Oh boy. I don't blame Kyle. I don't blame him. I wouldn't have given Theo any more chances either. The fact is, Theo has already had a second chance with Kyle. Fool me once, shame on you. But fool me twice, shame on me. Later, Theo shows up at Jabot to gather up his belongings, and Summer and Kyle are there in the conference room having champagne again. They already had they had 3 separate toasts of champagne to celebrate Kyle's victory. But Theo, seeing them there with the champagne, I'm sure reaffirmed to Theo that he was always going to be an outsider. He was always going to be seen as a usurper in at least, to them. But in reality, Summer and Kyle had also just had a very interesting conversation. Kyle was recounting his relationship with Theo in New York, and he was talking about how they used to be friends. And Kyle had this much needed self-awareness about him, that in retrospect, their friendship was meaningful, and yet Kyle was having an understanding about himself that maybe he unwittingly played his part in Theo developing that jealousy of him. Theo was always a hustler. Theo was working hard day and night just to achieve what Kyle already had. And Theo never really did or could probably achieve what Kyle was just handed. And Kyle even said to Summer, I can see how he would want to take me down a peg or two. So, that at least it bought me a little bit of goodwill with Kyle, that he was having that self-aware moment. It was very surprising coming from Kyle, especially after he had won. I mean, he chose not to gloat, and he gets points with me for that. It would have been nice maybe to hear Kyle say those things to Theo. I mean, when work is taken out of the picture now, maybe, that's something that he could extend, an olive branch that Kyle could extend to Theo. But the person who really, really has come off to me as least sympathetic in all of this is Summer. I mean, I get Theo, and Kyle had his sort of redeeming moment for me this week, but Summer. First of all, Summer was the one who came up with this idea to bait Theo with Jack's old marketing pitch. And I don't know, I guess I would have expected her to be at least a little sympathetic toward Theo. Kyle was very gracious, even in defeat. Kyle ended up taking a phone call, leaving the room, left Summer and Theo alone to talk together, and Summer just could not resist the opportunity to start laying into Theo, to scold him again about his jealousy of Kyle, wanting everything that Kyle had, his job, his wife, and at a point even her. She's kind of making it about her at this point, and I just couldn't help but think about how convenient it was that she was just leaving out the part where she was quietly co-conspiring with Theo to make Kyle jealous and to hopefully break up his marriage. She just left that part out about how she was kind of into it for a while. I don't know. I mean, Summer, she definitely wasn't lying and scheming and like baby switching to this devilish degree, but she wasn't an angel either. And in the scheme of things, I don't know, Theo also has not been as much of a little devil as he could have been, or as we've seen with many soap opera villainous characters. And I guess the thing is, I don't see Theo as a villain. I think Theo has a very well-established perspective. Theo has soul. And there was a time when I thought that maybe Summer had gotten to know him a little bit better. So it was hard to see her stand there and chastise Theo, especially knowing that nobody was probably doing that more than Theo himself. Nobody wants to see a character get kicked while they're down. And especially now knowing the real kicker, or the real cherry on top of this crow cake. All of this happened to Theo on his birthday of all days. Please, you're supposed to sympathize with Theo at this point. I mean, for crying out loud. All of this on his birthday, and nobody even knew it. Nobody even acknowledged his birthday. Nobody even knows it was Theo's birthday except for us, the audience. Hey, wait a minute. I specifically remember a scene where Jack was putting Theo's 420 birthday into his phone calendar. So hang on a minute. Theo may have stolen Jack's 15-year-old marketing pitch, but Uncle Jack dropped the birthday ball. Who's the real villain here, I ask you, huh? Oh, certainly not Theo. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of you feel differently, but I just think that Y&R has done a phenomenal job of developing Theo's character. To see somebody on a soap do a bad thing and then to turn around and kind of want them to have a happy birthday on the same episode, I mean, that's some rarely good character development right there. That's the kind of character development that Y&R needs to be doing with other characters, other people. Yeah, I was very happy to see Theo at least find a temporary safe space with Mariah this week. I mean, he found a little bit of a temporary friend in Mariah. That was very surprising. I don't understand how Mariah can find a way to muster up some sympathy for Theo, but Summer can't. Mariah and Theo ran into each other at Society, and the conversation started out on its usual snarky note. I mean, Mariah and Tessa were downright nasty to Theo last week, but Mariah somehow sensed that Theo was just lonely and that he needed someone to talk to. And I think that Mariah redeemed herself a little bit by reaching out to him. I mean, that's what I want to see. I like that. I like seeing characters have that intuition and reach out to someone. And, I just thought she did it in her Mariah way. She declared a no judgment zone and she just let him talk about everything with his firing. And it was such a comfortable conversation that they even ended up talking about their families. Theo put 2 and 2 together about what was going on with Sharon because Theo's dating Lola. Lola has had a lot of concern about her brother, so Theo just figured it out, and Mariah now has someone she can talk to. I think that's great. It was really poignant. Theo was talking about how he cared for his mother when she was sick, and so maybe Theo can be someone who that Mariah can get a little insight from, someone who can relate to the situation. Yeah, it's occurring to me now that Theo is, on the surface, being painted as the loser of the battle. The grand Kyle versus Theo battle royale. Kyle wins, Theo loses. But is Theo the loser? I mean, if what Theo wanted all along was Kyle's life, well, Theo's dating Kyle's wife. Yeah, wife. Theo's chumming it up even now with Kyle's bestie, Mariah. And I think that Theo is about to make a name for himself at Chancellor Communications, working over there with Uncle Billy. Dang, Billy and Amanda's love eyes were like burning through each other's souls this week. Twice! There was 2 separate scenes at Society where he was looking at her and she was looking at him, and it was real clear what was going on. Ooh. Last week, I asked you, Y&R Chatters, who would be the best love connection for Amanda right now? There were 3 choices: Devon, Nate, and Billy. And the poll results came in the reverse order of that. 57%, the wide majority of you picked for Amanda. Billy! You guys are blowing my mind with that one. 57% said Billy, 32% said Nate, he was choice number 2, and only 11% picked Devon. Wow, man! I don't know. I get maybe Y&R did a good enough job of building up that chemistry for the last couple months. I don't know. I thought we were pulling out of it. I thought we were headed to Amanda and Nate. I voted Nate. I voted Amanda and Nate, and it's not that I couldn't eventually jump on board with Billy and Amanda. It's entirely that I need to see some growth. I need to see some maturity. I need to see some successes from Billy before I'm going to want him with anyone. I just don't think that Y&R has done enough to redeem Billy from either his the whole psychological break that he had. I mean, remember the boathouse? Remember the multiple personality, like the schizophrenic, like, break that he had? I don't think that they redeemed him from that. And then I don't think they adequately redeemed him from his whole midlife crisis where he just up and decided to leave Victoria and the kids so that he could sit around in a bar for a couple of months. No! Why would I want Billy with a character like Amanda who I like? See, Y&R needs to do for Billy what they've done for Theo. They need to make me empathize. They need to make me love him again. Maybe, we saw Theo over here in the Chancellor Media Marketing plans. Maybe they're going to bring him into the fold at that company. And maybe Theo and Billy working together that can help me connect in with Billy a little bit more. But shoot, this is just all one person's opinion, because whether or not I like it, oh my goodness, the Y&R chatters must be liking it. Majority want Amanda and Billy. Ooh, you guys must have been losing your minds when Billy offered Amanda the job at Chancellor, and then they sat down, they agreed that they were going to work together, that they, could be mature, and then there was this moment where they both went back to separate tables. Billy went back to his table with Lily, and Amanda went back to her table with Nate. But Billy and Amanda were like giving each other sexy eyes from across the room with like sexy music playing in the background. I mean, that's that. I guess that's that. I mean, you can't deny the sexy music. You can interpret what you want out of the sexy eyes, but the sexy music tells the story. So then what's all this speculation about Billy's relationship with Lily then? I mean, I don't know where this is going, but Billy and Lily have their whole own history. I mean, this week Lily was talking to Billy about that time that off screen a long time ago, Billy made Lily watch a horror film, and I could just totally see that happening in my mind. I don't know why, but I just flashed to it. I just saw Billy kind of maybe even tricking Lily into sitting down on the couch to watch a horror film and her just being terrified of it. I wish Y&R would have shown us that. I saw it in my mind, but it would have been nice to see it on screen, even if it was like just a funny flashback or something, just a brand new recreated funny flashback. I just think that would have been a good chemistry builder if we are supposed to believe, and if we are being led, to think that maybe there could be a little something going on for Billy and Lily in the romantic department. But then we have Nate. What about Nate? When is it going to be Nate's chance to be somebody's first choice? He's such an eligible bachelor. And he and Amanda have this really great chemistry. And they're just getting started. Are you going to tell me that Amanda is going to eventually toss Nate aside again for the second time to have like probably a passionate one night stand on Lily's desk with Billy? Is that what's about to happen? I don't know. The lines here are blurry. I mean, for crying out loud, we've got Billy, Lily, Amanda, and Nate, and who knows how it's all going to shake out. The only people who absolutely cannot hook up here are Lily and Nate because they're cousins. Wow. Heather Tom as Victoria. Va 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 voom. Yes, that young, sexy kitten who was lying to her husband about skinny dipping with another man while he was out of town. That was Victoria in 1996. I forgot how fantastic she was. Oh my gosh, Victoria was sexy. Victoria was smart. Victoria was sassy. She was brash and sassy with Heather Tom. Oh, man. Oh, I was so into that. I loved that scene. I would also love to note that in 1996, I looked exactly like Heather Tom. At least that's what I thought I looked like. Not gonna lie. I don't know if I actually pulled it off or not, but it's not that I idolized her or anything, but in 1996, how Heather Tom looked in those flashback scenes, that was the look I was going for. There may or may not have been some dark lip liner with a lighter lipstick in the middle, but the hair, that was my hair. And the look, that was what I was going for. Dang. How about Heather Tom? How about the old tack house too? Oh, man. We saw the scene where, you know, it was like the horses were running through the field, and that just told me where I was. I knew I was at the ranch because the horses. We never see any actual horses running. Why doesn't Y&R do that occasionally to get, you know, just gets us into the scene, reminds us where we are? But the old tack house, before they redid it and they had the stupid hat rack there for all those years. I like the original tack house with the saddles, and it was very brown. You know, that's how I like it. I like brown, so that was great for me. Why did Heather Tom ever leave Y&R? Why? Why did she go to The Bold and the Beautiful, where her character, Katie, kind of just plays second fiddle to Brooke, her sister? I don't know. Maybe I'm just feeling a little bored and annoyed with current day Victoria, but I'm sort of feeling curious. Oh, don't tell Amelia Heinley I said this, but I'm sort of feeling curious to know what Heather Tom would be doing with the role of Victoria today if she were still in it. I mean, nothing against Amelia at all. Her portrayal is just very different. And I guess I forgot that Victoria used to be kind of, you know, sexy and sassy when Heather Tom was playing the role. I think that Amelia's portrayal is well, much more mature because, of course, the character has gotten older. But typically from Victoria these days, I get more cold. She's more cold and more robotic. Like when Victoria actually does get around to smiling, it feels like the clouds are parting and the sun is shining through. And I don't think we felt that way about Victoria when she was Heather Tom. Well, that was something else. And that, I tell you also, that husband of hers, Cole Howard, and his big old blue eyes. Remember the 1993 episode we saw 2 weeks ago where Victor was making the phone call to Eve? Well, that is the son that Victor was thinking could be his after all those years. That's right, Victoria married him. Turns out he wasn't her brother, so everything was okay. But good old Cole. The other man, by the way, the Calvin Klein looking guy, that was Ryan McNeil, Victoria's ex-husband, the Romeo to her Juliet at the Masquerade Ball last week. Yes. So at that time, Victoria was with Cole. Ryan was with Nina. And I remember feeling that the couples were all wrong. It just wasn't right. I mean, Victoria and Ryan should be together, and Cole and Nina were more birds of a feather. I don't know. I mean, they were both writers. Cole was, obviously, from the episode you could tell, Cole was the much more successful writer, and Nina at that point was just getting her big break. She was coming home from that trip that she and Cole were on. And by the way, when Nina was coming through the door, and she was telling Ryan that she had all these presents for little Philip, well, little Philip is today known as Chance. Another soap kid in the making, Noah Newman. Yes, the big announcement that Nick and Sharon were making was her pregnancy. She was pregnant with their first child, who would go on to be known as Noah. Oh, I love boy band Nick and fresh-faced Sharon. They probably were my first soap super couple. Yeah, I think so. And I'm still not over it. I'm just still not over Nick and Sharon after all the years. It was pretty much never smooth sailing for those two, ever. It's worth noting that Nick was happily inviting his parents to this very special dinner so that he and Sharon could break their very special news. But Nick was not happy when he first found out that Sharon was pregnant. In fact, Nick encouraged her to have an abortion. He was not ready to be a father. And Sharon was crushed. And Sharon was about to go through with it. I believe she made the appointment to get the abortion when Nick changed his mind. He decided that he was okay with being a father after all. And of course, Doris knew all of this. Sharon's mother, old Doris, good old Doris, with that stern look on her face. And in case you weren't watching at the time, I can personally assure you that Doris had that look on her face about everything that Sharon did. The stern look with the slight eyebrow was the same look that Doris gave everything. Oh, I think that Doris just must have somehow known that daughter of hers was destined for drama all the days of her life. She just knew. She just knew that fresh-faced angel Sharon was no angel. I mean, come on. Fresh-faced angel Sharon that we saw in those scenes had secretly stopped taking her birth control pills to make sure that she could get pregnant, to make sure that she could hang on to her husband Nicholas, so to make sure that she could start that Newman family. Oh, yes. But Sharon had also made the mistake in confiding, she had confided in Nikki about the fact that she had stopped taking her birth control pills. Whatever on earth made Sharon think that was a good idea, I don't remember. But that secret was just there, bubbling beneath the surface in that episode that we saw on Friday. And you could see it in Sharon's eyes as she tried to convince her mother that her happy little family with Nicholas was happy. And you could also see it in Sharon's eyes when she was sitting in Victoria's office in that scene that she was sharing with Victoria. I mean, Sharon's sitting there looking at Victoria, acting like she has no secrets, and yet knowing that she manipulated that pregnancy for the security of that relationship, and also that Nikki, of all people, knew that secret. So where was Nikki? The question on everyone's mind. Where's Nikki? She's off on some mystery getaway. As that episode opened, Victor was calling the ranch, talking to good old Miguel. Again, Miguel, always there, never appreciated. But he answered the phone, Abbott residence. I don't know the status of Nikki and Jack's relationship at the time, but I'm guessing they weren't on good terms. I'm guessing they weren't together anymore, because Nikki didn't want anyone to know her whereabouts, probably because she was off screen during that episode, secretly canoodling with none other than Brad Carlton. But you didn't come here this week to hear me droll on again about People Magazine's Sexiest Man of the Year, Brad Carlton, non-diamant. You didn't come here to hear me talk about that. You came here to hear me talk about Paul and Christine's infamous honeymoon in Nevis and the infamous Octopus in the Bed incident and the infamous Phyllis Summers. Just one happy pussycat. Oh. You want to know something? When that episode originally aired, I hated it. I hated it. I hated Phyllis. I thought Phyllis was so annoying. And truth be told, I fast forwarded a lot of her scenes. By 96, I was getting real tired of Phyllis's antics to trap Danny into a relationship. And even after Phyllis had successfully broken Danny and Christine up, Phyllis still couldn't leave Christine alone. She had to be pulling stunts like octopuses in the bed. And I don't know, I felt differently watching it in retrospect. I think I had never noticed in the past what a comedic performance Michelle Stafford was actually giving at the time. And I'm trying to put my finger on a good comparison for it. And what I keep coming up with is Lucy Van Pelt. I think that Michelle Stafford as Phyllis in those early days was giving me Charlie Brown's Lucy. You know, she thinks she knows it all. She thinks she's always right. She's just always pulling the football out from under you. And I keep looking at I watched some of her scenes twice. Her portrayal and her facial expressions were cartoonish at points. I mean, the way that she would contort her eyes and her mouth, and she just, she wasn't afraid to look silly. And it's amazing to me to think about how probably off the mark I was at the time and how I felt about this story and this character and this portrayal, but it's probably also more amazing to think about how far the character has come. I mean, I think today we might think of Phyllis as this very smart, very sexy snake. You know, she kind of slinks into a scene and sexes it up and then slinks away. But in 96, although Phyllis was sexy and she used her sex, no doubt. I mean, look at the guy who was there with her. She was using her sex. But at the same time, she was also kind of, I don't know, average looking. And she was also just really bold about making those silly faces. She wasn't afraid to allow herself to look a fool. Yeah, I think Michelle Stafford's performance style has probably settled somewhere in between those two extremes, somewhere in between sexy and foolish. She's maybe now perhaps she's settled somewhere into being a sexy fool. That's very exciting to me to watch something all these years apart and to have a totally different impression of it than I did the first time around. And that's normal. I mean, everybody grows and everybody changes, but I appreciated it so much more this time around. And I know that an absurd performance is not what I was wanting in 96, and it's not necessarily what I would have wanted now, but I can look back on it and go, oh, I can appreciate that. The whole octopus thing was absurd. But they wouldn't do that today. That's the thing. There's no way Y&R would have pulled off the octopus in the bed bit today in 2020. I certainly hope that no octopuses were harmed during the filming of that episode. I mean, that's another reason they wouldn't do it. It would never happen. People would be all over it. Was it a fake octopus? Does anybody know? Surely. Was it just a dead octopus? Hey, we happen to have a dead octopus. Here you go. Use that. Or was it like made of plastic? I don't know. I have no idea. I guess at the time never really viewed it as comedy. But watching it this week with all of Phyllis's facial contortions, and I mean, all the bits. There were bits. The binoculars in the bushes. The shack on the beach where Phyllis bought the octopus. The look on the housekeeper's face when Phyllis lied to her to get into the room, to pull the whole thing off. The big old headscarf that Phyllis had on. Phyllis's dweeby doctor, Tim Reed, sitting by the pool in his cocktail print button-up shirt, reading a Psychology Today magazine. It was meant to be funny, and I can't believe how not funny it was to me at the time. Maybe because I liked Paul and Chris. And I don't think Paul and Chris thought the octopus stunt was very funny. Yeah, it was a real wet octopus on the whole thing. Can you even believe how beautiful those two looked on their honeymoon? Paul was so young and so tan and so buff, and Christine looked so blonde and so beautiful and so freckled and sun-kissed, sitting on the beach getting hand-fed fresh island fruit by her man. And I loved even the opening scenes. Oh my God, I knew we were in the 90s. The second the whole scene in Nevis opened up and she was wearing those big round white glasses and the cute little black and white retro swimsuit. Ooh, I loved it. I loved it. I can't believe how much more I loved it this time around. Laura Lee and Doug looked really hot though. I mean physically hot. Like they looked like they were baking, especially like the scenes on the beach. I just got this sense that they'd been waiting around to film that scene for a little bit and they looked a little uncomfortable. What a wonderful treat for the viewers, though. I feel like we really got the Caribbean experience just from that one episode. I mean, they filmed scenes at the resort, at the beach, at the bungalow. They got around. There was a lot of different footage there. They even had that underwater shot of Phyllis when she was hiding from Paul and Chris, when she realized that they just so happened to all be on the same island together. She does that underwater, dunk, and that brief underwater moment where you actually see her under the water, it probably cost a small fortune. Can you even imagine Y&R putting in that much money today? It speaks a lot to the position of soaps within the CBS lineup. Oh, I don't know. Would it really be that much more expensive to go and do a location shoot than it is to set up and break down all of the sets? I don't know. Well, wait a minute. Wouldn't that possibly be the perfect solution for starting up production again? A breezy, open-air, Caribbean on-location shoot with fun and sun and 6 feet of social distance? Ding, 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 ding! I mean, Y&R's got to go back to production sometime. Why not do it in the Caribbean? It makes total sense. It's, it's breezy, it's open. Oh, well, I read an article this week that said there is an Australian soap opera called Neighbours that's planning how they're about ready to go back into production. It might still be a couple of months, but they're already starting to make plans about how they're going to quadrant off the sets to make sure that there's not any cross-contamination between different groups of the actors and also the people who are working on sets, just so that if there is a breakout, it is isolated. So they're planning, they're thinking about it, and I'm sure that Y&R is also thinking about it. I mean, it is all classic episodes from here on out, my friends. We have seen the last of our new ones. But I tell you, I'm looking forward to the classics. There was a little preview in the Friday episode, I think it was, of the plan that Y&R has for us next week, and it is going to be quite a treat. Sounds like it's going to be 5 full days of Catherine Chancellor-centric episodes. They called it Catherine the Great next week on The Young and the Restless. Oh, this is something something to be excited about. I mean, if you're me anyway. I don't know if everybody feels this passionately about the classic episodes, but I think I've been enjoying the classic episodes even more than the regular episodes. Maybe just because it's so different. It's just, we don't get these. It feels like the old episodes have been locked away in a vault, and we have no hope of accessing them. There's so much Y&R content that they have done nothing to put out bonus material. They don't sell DVD sets. They don't put old episodes on CBS All Access that I know of. So, I mean, to me, this is just like a vacation and a treat. Does everybody feel that way? Will you be watching Y&R's airing of all classic episodes from here on out? That is our poll question for this week. I want to know if you're actually interested in watching these old episodes, or is this something that you're not interested in? I mean, stepping back in time is not for everybody. I mean, a lot of people only like, for instance, new movies. I don't want to go back and watch classic movies or black and whites. And, it's just a taste thing. So my question for you this week at yrchat.com is, will you be watching Y&R's classic episodes, or are you going to skip out and hopefully come back when the new episodes air? Let me know what your plan is. I think there are a lot of people out there right now who are being maybe pessimistic and predicting that this is going to be the end of soaps. But I don't think so for one second. I tell you what, I think we're about to see a resurgence, in fact, of interest in soaps after this. People are staying at home right now. There's a whole lot of people at home, and they are running out of things to watch on Netflix. So maybe they're going to TV. Maybe they're flicking through some channels. Maybe they're seeing these news stories that we've had over the last 4 to 6 weeks. Or maybe they're tuning in and they are actually seeing some of these classic stories that, who knows, it could jog some interest. It could jog some re-interest in the show. I mean, call me Pollyanna, but I think we've actually got a really golden opportunity here. I mean, we've got captive viewers here. And there's no backup plan for daytime programming. What are they going to do? Go to news? No. Y&R's coming back. And I think they're going to have more viewers at the end of all of this. And to the other thing I do predict is, I think that when Y&R does go back to production, I don't think they're going to bother buffering with the whole 4 to 6 weeks thing. I think that they are going to be working as much as possible, and I think they are going to be broadcasting the new episodes as quickly as possible. I think they have viewers right now, and they want to keep these viewers viewing. The truth of the matter, my friends, is that the real world sucks. And that's why we must escape into our fantasy. Well, that was our quote from last week. The real world sucks. I mean, I just said it, but originally the person who said it was Phyllis. Well, I don't know, she's not necessarily original, but the person who said it last week on Y&R was Phyllis. She said the real world sucks when she was lying in bed with Nick, and she was wanting to just stay in bed. Nick was saying, hey, maybe we got to get back to the real world. And Phyllis said, nah, the real world sucks. It just seemed appropriate for right now, for some reason. Oh, we had so many people who guessed that right. Congratulations, Jamie, Daisy, Henry, Heather, Julie, Gary, Anna, Ambreen, Marianne V, Victoria, Joanne, Tony, Kamna, TB84, Sam, and Colleen. You guys guessed it right. And I almost was able to read those without taking a breath. Almost. Well, you guys, this is going to be our last two-set quote for the new episodes. But I'm going to definitely be picking quotes from our classic episodes too. So this is the last new one, but there will be more. Who said it? I think this is a good one to end on. Just raw, sheer brain power. That's the quote. Just raw, sheer brain power. Who said it? If you think you know who said just raw sheer brain power, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out on next week's Y&R Chat. And now let's read some of your comments, starting out with Superplex, who says, what are some of the thoughts of the Y&R Chat community on what we might be tuning into as soon as the show gears back up into production? So Superplex has created a space for us to have some predictions there. And actually, there was a lot. Superplex had a ton of really good theories, and a lot of people chimed in there to say where they think the stories are going to be headed when we do come back. Whenever it is that we do come back. But I also wanted to mention this because I am curious to know if Y&R will be using this gap as a chance to do some pivoting. Is there any chance that they are going to not go through with some of the storylines that they started, now? I mean, how much is going to change? How much of their plan is going to change is my question. Because I wonder how good of a memory we're all going to have. Are we going to remember exactly where we left off? I mean, if we flash forward 3-4 months even from now? I mean, I don't know if it'll be that long, but how faithful will Y&R want to be to the old, the old stories from 3-4 months ago? Or are they going to want to pick it back up and take it as an opportunity to maybe do a little something different? Don't know. But it is fun to speculate. Okay, about these classic episodes that we're going to be getting for the foreseeable future, Superplex also says if they decide to broadcast old episodes from now into the foreseeable future, they should at least have the courtesy of providing to the viewer, such as myself, a retrospective on what's going on. It would help those of us who weren't watching the show at the time to appreciate the storyline. Yeah, I think it is going to be tricky, Superplex, because, we're going to be, dumped into a random storyline that, maybe we were watching at the time, maybe we weren't. Maybe we were watching and don't remember what was going on at the time. So, yeah, I do think one benefit to soaps in general, and especially older episodes of soaps, they moved so slow, and they kind of did have a format where they wanted you to be able to pick up on any day and get hooked. I think each episode they wanted you to not have to work too hard to know what came before it. So I do think soaps did an especially good job of explaining where the story was within, reason, because they were hoping to grab new viewers on a daily basis, people who were just jumping in and tuning on. I mean, I think they specifically didn't want people to feel left out, as opposed to let's say you pick up a new series on Netflix or something. You can always go back to the beginning and just rewatch those episodes, but you could never do that with soaps. You're always unless you are an original viewer of the show, which is not. It's a small percentage at this point, but then you're always going to have been jumping in on some kind of story. So I think that they have been conscious of that throughout the continuum, and they've tried to make things somewhat explanatory, I guess, the best that you can. It's going to be a challenge for me because these episodes are going to take a little bit of extra research. I mean, normally when it's new episodes, I just jump on here, give out my opinion. Doesn't take that much brain power, but even with the episodes that I've seen that 96 episode that we got on Friday, and I still had to go back and say, okay, where was Nikki at this time? What was Sharon's secret? I mean, I didn't remember that. I barely remember 2 weeks ago. You know me, I move along. So I had to go back, had to do a little research, and when we get to something that is pre-93, when I started watching, I'm definitely going to have to go back and figure out what was going on, and I will do my best, of course, to present that history to you. But, you guys also, please feel free to chime in there at the website, too, because some of you guys might just remember things. You might just have minds that remember things. But, this is a great little bit of information from Leslie here about these classic episodes, because we were talking last week about how the heck you're even supposed to get them. But never fear. Leslie has given us the key. You're going to be able to watch them. Don't worry about not being able to get these classic episodes. They're on CBS.com. Leslie says they're there even without CBS All Access. Leslie says she tried and confirmed that you can get the old episodes with or without logging in. They're there. A subscription is not needed. So here's what you got to do. You got to go to CBS.com, and Leslie says you have to change the season in order to find them. You have to like arrow down on the search page. And this is perfect, Leslie, because I didn't know this. I was wondering where the heck the episodes were. And that whole the way they have it broken out by season is kind of confusing, and they've gotten me before where like I can't find new episodes because the season switched over, and you have to like select from the drop down what season it is that you're wanting to access. But Leslie says she watches with the CBS All Access subscription, and they're there. You just have to toggle down and find them. Leslie also says that on Roku, on the episodes page, you can arrow down 2 or 3 rows. On the iPhone app, on the episodes page where it says season 47, just use the drop down arrow, and seasons 20, 18, and 11 are available for the classic episodes. The other platforms should be similar. Just look for the drop down box on the season. Yes, Leslie, that is the key. So even if you don't get to see the broadcast during the day, don't think that the seasons are lost to you. It's just going to take a little bit of work to find them. Maybe they'll make that easier. I mean, I understand they want to keep their library organized by season. That makes sense for sure, because who knows, maybe they have intent to upload old episodes at a point. Ooh, that would make me want to buy a all access subscription. But I think they should make it a little more accessible. They need to put links or something on the main page. And now that we are moving into all classic episodes, maybe we'll get lucky and they'll do that. Oh, well, let's talk about the last of our new episodes. Gary says, Y&R's current last scene seems like an artful note to end on. Maybe Y&R felt that too and pulled the plug even though they had several more episodes that they could play out. Ugh, Gary, I was thinking the same thing. I thought to myself, I bet they have a couple more episodes that they probably could have aired, but there was just something about the way they ended this. It felt like an ending, didn't it? It felt like a season cliffhanger. Like, it just all worked out. I mean, they had the dramatic music. As you said, you called it artful. I like that. I hope that there's nothing to be read into that, like they felt like they needed to end on an artful note for any reason. But I don't think so. I just think it just happened that way. And I'm going to choose to take that as a good sign. Yes. And I wonder if the original episodes will ever even air, because there's a part of me that just wonders if they just chose to go, okay, this is the stopping point, and now we just have no choice. We just have to we'll stop here, and we're going to start new, and it's going to be maybe some of the same. Maybe they'll follow through with some of the same ideas, but maybe they won't. That's what I'm wondering. Maybe they will follow through, with some of the same directions. Maybe we will pick up and they'll just go, get on board, we're doing this now. I'm fine either way, just so long as I get the new episodes. TB84 says, I feel like I have to apologize. I called the Adam storyline unnecessary a few weeks ago, but now I find it to be one of the most intense storylines currently. Yes, I know, TB84. I was very critical of this storyline too when it started. I was not having it. I had some trouble leaping on. But they delivered, right? It turned out to be very intense and very dramatic and very good. And I'm coming out of it also with this great new appreciation for Marc Grossman. So yeah, it worked out. I mean, I think a lot of us were dissenting, but I think it turned out to be pretty good, in my opinion anyway. Justin says, I know that Y&R has painted the picture of the evil villain invading the kingdom, but to be honest, I've always believed that Adam is the better CEO of Newman Enterprises than Victoria. Adam fights down and dirty, while Victoria does not. Even Victor has admitted that Adam has a better skill set, which is why he asked Adam to be the CEO when he returned to Genoa City from Vegas. Yeah, I think there's no doubt about it that Victor's preferred CEO was Adam, and I think Victoria knows that deep down, and I think that's probably part of the reason why she is acting so nasty. I wish they would do something with Victoria when they come back. I mean, if we're taking opportunities to pivot, I wish they would pivot on her a little bit. She's a little cold. She's a little harsh. She's been through a lot. They've put that character through a lot. I think some happiness would go a long way for her. I don't know how much more I want to see Victoria just being unhappy, and maybe that's why I was really riveted with Other Tom. Because she just seemed, you know, she was sneaky and everything, but she seemed sort of at the core playful. You know, I mean, the scene in the, and she's baiting Ryan to come jump in the pool and skinny dip with her. It was fun, you know, she was happy in that moment, and I enjoyed it. And even when she was lying to her husband, she was being catty and kind of crafty about it, and I found that intriguing and very sexy, and it was just, it was something different and long forgotten about the character of Victoria. I mean, everything after the abuse, it's just, she's never made a comeback after those storylines with JT. It's just been dark and dismal, and yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for Victoria. I like Victoria very much, but I'd like to see her win graciously. I'd like to see her be I don't just want to see her win. I want to see her be happy. That's it. Well, moving on here. Oh my goodness, this is a great analysis from Daisy. Daisy says, Adam is a messed up grown man in part or fully because when he was 11 years old, he killed the man that was harming his mother. Adam may unknowingly be stuck at this point, and his forgotten memory has manifested itself into his lashing out at others. Also, Adam may internally hate Victor for not being there when he needed him the most, which was before AJ died, not after. But I don't think it's that cut and dry, Daisy says. Adam has full memory of how he's treated others, so I don't think what happened when Adam was a child would explain or justify adult Adam's actions. Adult Adam could have joined a law firm and excelled there, but he chose instead to harm others, and then blamed mostly Victor for his actions, never himself. Also, I'm not convinced that Adam didn't remember killing AJ, but even if he didn't, that wouldn't be a reason for all the horrible things that adult Adam's done to others. It would be an excuse. Well, I like your idea about this, Daisy, though, that at Adam's core, he knows it, and it manifested itself into all of the bad actions that he's doing today. No, it's not an excuse, but maybe it's a reason. You know, I mean, maybe it plays into the reason. And also, you're folding in his feelings of abandonment toward the father that maybe he also kind of knew was his father. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of play down in Adam's psyche here that I think Y&R, in retrospect, did a good job with. But you think that you're not convinced that Adam doesn't already know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like he knows. I don't know, but there's nothing to tell me that. I just kind of a feeling that that's where the storyline was coming. But when we come back, sorry, where the storyline was headed. But when we come back from the break, they could take it any direction. They could spin it that Adam knew all along. They could spin it that Victor's lying and that it never happened. There's just a lot of opportunity here. And, you know, I mean, as much as the storyline took a leap to get into, it's made me appreciate Adam a little more. I mean, he's not a good guy, but I think it's made me appreciate the actor who's playing him a little more. Ellen says, I'm confused. If Victor had killed AJ while defending Hope, the other Newmans would stand by him and see him as noble. But now that it appears Adam killed AJ to defend his mother when he was a child. What? Adam has always been twisted? And how is Alyssa now supposed to feel about it? And Adam has no memory of it, and Hope and Victor just let that go? I must not be understanding where this story is going or how this works out for any of the Newmans. Victoria's gloating about this? At minimum, Daddy still engineered a cover-up. Why do I feel like this is going to be another badly written story that we won't see resolved until post-pandemic? Blah. Well, I love the point here, Ellen, that if Victor had done it, it would have been noble. But Adam, as a child, did it, and he is seen as twisted, and the Newmans are using that against him, and seeing it as just confirmation that Adam is bad. But yes, it's interesting. I mean, Victor even made the point that nobody held Nikki responsible when she killed her childhood best friend, so why are you holding Adam to a standard that you wouldn't hold yourself to? I guess I like these layers. But, on that hypocritical note, Diana asks, how many people has Nikki killed? She mentioned that she killed her childhood friend, and as far as I know of, she's killed 3 people. The childhood friend, her father, and Kyle's mother, Diane Jenkins. That's a lot of people. Yes. I know, right? Yes, it's an interesting double standard, isn't it? That, we're wanting to hold Adam accountable and expose him for something he did as a child, but we don't feel that way about Nikki, and it was never really written that we should feel that way about Nikki when she did something similar as a child. Now, I could not put my finger on who the heck the childhood friend was. When Victor mentioned that, and then when people were talking about it at the website, it rang slight of a bell, but not enough of a bell. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a refresher on that, because I think it has some interesting ties in for today. So this is from soaps.sheknows.com, and it's a flashback on how that all went down, how Nikki killed her childhood friend. So here it goes. Paul was troubled to learn that Nikki's SUV was spotted near the scene of Delia's hit and run in Genoa City. Pause. Remember when Nikki was a suspect for that? And it sure as heck did look like Nikki was going to have been the one to have hit Delia. Just thought it was interesting that this is also kind of coming back. This that happened with Nikki and her killing her childhood friend. That story came up around the time of Delia's death. All right, continuing on. Years ago, Nikki was troubled as well when memories of a tragic accident reemerged. In the early 2000s, Victor built the Market Street Community Center as a community service project. Nikki visited the construction site, which was previously the paint factory, where her abusive father worked when she was a child. Nikki began having these unexplained memory flashes of her childhood. When a child's skeleton was found in the cement during the excavation for the new pool, the flashes became more prominent. Nikki confided in Paul and ended up remembering being with her childhood friend when they found her father's gun. As the memories came rushing back, Nikki was devastated to remember that she had, in fact, accidentally shot and killed Joshua when they were only 5 years old. Her father had buried the body at his workplace, and Nikki blocked out the horrible memories. Paul found out that Joshua's family never knew what happened to their son. Nikki ended up locating his brother, wanting to confess, who turned out to be Bobby Marcino. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, that's it. That's the end of the recap. Now I'm trying to remember. So did that come up at the time of Delia's death? Did I misinterpret that? I'm not sure. But isn't it so interesting? Because it's a much more gruesome story what happened with Nikki, and nobody says anything, nobody's saying anything about her being responsible in any way for that. And also the fact that the child's skeleton, oh gosh, was excavated during a construction. I mean, and that's sort of an odd parallel to what is going on with Phyllis's little idea with Abby and the bones of the Grand Phoenix Hotel. I just thought this was an interesting parallel to bring up now. Well, let's have a little follow-up from last week's classic episode. We were watching the masquerade ball, and the one person at the ball who I did not recognize was someone they called Diane, and I thought to myself, that cannot be Diane Jenkins. Speak of the devil. And Diana chimed in and gave us the real answer to this, saying, I did a little research as I was watching at that time, and the character's name was Diane Weston, whom David Kimball met in the mailroom. Apparently, the only other last names of the character of Diane Jenkins are Richards and Newman, so it couldn't have been Diane Jenkins. Diane Weston is who switched the bullets in David Kimball's gun so that he was firing off fake bullets, I guess, to in quotes, kill Danny and Cricket and Nina at the masquerade ball. Oh, thank you, Diana, for giving us that follow-up, because I would not have done it. I was lost on that one. So maybe Diane Weston was a little bit of a side character. Was she on the show for very long? I just thought that was a interesting note. Didn't think it could be Diane Jenkins. But yes, Nikki killed Diane Jenkins. Nikki killed Kyle's mother. I mean, she kind of willingly did that. I'm pretty sure she maybe didn't know what she was doing. Or did she? I don't know, but she's far more accountable for that than Adam would be for killing a guy at 11 years old, right? Oh, well, talking about Kyle, Astra says, oh, wait a minute, Kyle. How are you going to lecture Theo about crossing lines, integrity, and honesty? Weren't you the same dude that was trying to destroy your Aunt Ashley's patents so that you and Jack could have the power in the company? Talk about the pot and the kettle. Oh, yeah, Astra. I mean, we could even list Kyle's dirty deeds before that. I mean, he was plotting with Victor to take over, to sell Jabot out from under the Abbott family. So, I mean, you got that right. Honesty, integrity, my eye. Astra also says Kyle and Summer at the least deserved to be called out by Jack for the setup. Although I have a feeling that Jack will still be okay with Theo almost wanting to help him. I can't wait to see Kyle and Summer mess up majorly now. Arrogance is the seed for demise. Ooh, that's a good line. Arrogance is the seed for demise. That is very true. And yeah, I know. I was half expecting Summer and Kyle to at least get a little bit of a finger wag from Jack, but literally that scene turned around and Theo left. We saw Kyle and Summer give their version of the pitch. I don't even think we saw very much of the pitch. It kind of came back from commercial and Jack was just going, bravo, it had everything. It was the greatest pitch I've ever heard in my whole life. Well done, son. That's how that went down. Laura says, I thought for sure that Jack was going to fire Kyle and Summer. That never occurred to me. I didn't think he was going to fire him, but I did think it was going to blow back on him at least a little bit. Diana says, I don't like that Jack wasn't willing to give Theo a second chance, as he did for Kyle in the past. Oh, well, now here's a great point, Diana. So Kyle didn't have to give Theo the second chance. Kyle already gave Theo the second chance. But Jack coulda, right? That's a good point. Jack has given Kyle a couple second chances, a couple for sure. But he did not extend that to Theo. Yeah, that is a real darn good point. I am going to be so curious to see what happens when Theo comes out on the other end of this. And Kyle, I think Y&R needs to take a little bit of time and go back to the drawing board on a couple of things. Maybe we'll finally find out who and what they want to do with Billy. But I got some comments for you on last week's poll. Who would be the best romantic love connection for Amanda? Ambrini says, I choose Nate. I like their flirtation, and neither of them have been with other relatives. For example, Nick, Chelsea, and Adam, or Mom and Dad when it was Victor, Sharon, and Nick. I find that gross. And I love how Nate's eyes sparkle. Any of you guys notice that? I find him so charming and dreamy on the show. Plus, Devon has been with Hillary and Billy needs to get his life together. Yes, Ambrini, maybe that's kind of how I feel too. You better believe I have noticed how Nate's eyes sparkle. And I think that's it. I mean, she's been with Devon before, so we've seen it. No rush to get to that at this point from me. And as you say, Billy needs to get his life together. But hey, you know, that's just me. Melissa says I voted for Amanda and Billy. They have amazing chemistry, and they look so good together. Melissa, how are you? Are you watching Y&R? And I think you're a nurse. Are you an ER nurse? I think. And maybe am I wrong on that? I might have just pulled that out of thin air. But look, hey, how about checking in, letting us know how you're doing? It's good to hear from you. Anna says I'd like to see Billy with Lily, but I might be in the minority here. I think Billy and Lily would balance each other out, just like Billy and Victoria do. I think Billy needs the balance, and so does Lily. Amanda and Nate are just plain dang cute together. Plain damn cute together. I know that's the thing. Amanda and Nate are very good, make a very good looking couple to me. Yeah, I don't know. Billy and Lily. I could see it. I need something more from Billy. Billy's got to give me a good reason. But I know you don't need a reason, Anna. You are in your orange convertible with Adam and Billy in the back seat, which you're a pretty lucky girl if you're able to pull that one off. But you must like those bad boys. You must like flashy cars and bad boys. Well, I like that about you. I'm boring. I drive a sensible Ford Focus. A sensible, boring, gray Ford Focus. Oh, well, let's end on this little cute note here from Leslie, who has to note what an adorable little dress Bella had on at the baby shower. Leslie says, I think it had unicorns on it, and I want one for myself. Oh, I know. It's so funny. I totally noticed Bella's cute little unicorn dress. Bella was the belle of the ball. She was adorable. I think she upstaged Chloe at her own shower. I'm looking forward to seeing Chloe give birth, absolutely. But I don't know, since we're at the end of our new episodes now, I think that Chloe may actually go down in history as having the longest running pregnancy in soap history. I mean, Chloe's pregnancy could potentially last well over a year. Oh, and that's the end, isn't it? That's the end of the new episodes and the end of our Y&R Chat. I'm feeling a little sad about that, I will say. It's a little bit of a it was nice while it lasted, having that sense of normalcy. But I also really feel like the classic episodes are going to be a treat. I hope that everybody else feels that way. You can still go to yrchat.com to vote in that poll. Let me know how you're feeling about all of it. Honestly, the end of the new episodes, the beginning of the classic episodes. We may not have any more new Y&Rs, but Y&R Chat is still going to be here for you. So go to yrchat.com. You can leave some comments. You can connect in with me, connect in with the other fans of the show. If you're feeling a little down, go there. We'll pick you up. I mean, that's pretty much the effect that you guys have for me. I do love seeing how much you guys participate there. That really does make me feel happy. I think I'm going to be in a good mood next week. I mean, I don't know what all the Catherine episodes are going to be, but I feel guaranteed that there's going to be some good hair. And that makes me feel good. I feel excited about all of the hair and all of the wardrobe. I mean, I don't know. Those are the things that kind of get me excited. I love the fresh, fun news stories. I love just being able to come on and just give my opinions, but there is something extra charming about the retro stuff. I think Monday's episode is going to be Catherine confronting Marge. So that's going to be Catherine's famous twin. So that's going to be good. I hope everybody gets to watch it. Thank you again to Leslie for letting us know how the heck you can watch the episodes, because I did not know that. I record them off of live TV. So 11 a.m. Central Time all next week, you know where I will be, in my living room with the shades drawn, with my mink stole on, pretending I'm in 1970s, 1980s. I think that would have been an 80s storyline, because even from the previews, Catherine's hair looked pretty puffy. It looked pretty 80s-y. Oh, early 80s, I bet it is. Oh, all right, you guys. Well, this is me signing off for the end of the new Y&R Chat content. But we'll see you next Sunday. I love you guys. I hope you have a good week, and I hope you come back. Hang in there. Bye.